Hey everyone on YouTube, how's everyone doing? I haven't done a video in a long time and I wanted to do one just to say hi. I was hoping to get something done to show you, but things are just taking longer than I expected. But I wanted to do a video and say hi to everyone, see how everyone is doing, and just to let you know I'm still around, still working. It's just that things are taking longer than I expected, and I got a lot of things on the table that I've started but never finished. I've got a couple of projects that I'm working on, almost done with one. So let's get started. I'm going to try to go as fast as I can. So if you guys are not following me on Instagram or on Facebook, here's a custom buoy that I'm almost done. It doesn't have an edge yet, and I'm waiting on the leather sheath. Now, I got to say that I've got some of the coolest customers because they've had a lot of patience with me. I've been sending them videos and pictures and eye candy every now and then so they can see the progression. And I have to apologize that we got hit with a lot of bad weather that slowed me down, and heat treat took longer than expected. And because I decided to make a prototype of everything took twice as long because I made two of everything. So this is the custom buoy that I made. His design of a knife that he already has. Brass pins, desert ironwood, black G10 liners, thick liners. It's got patterned, rock pattern all the way around. He wanted the scales thick and chunky. That's how he said. It's got a really nice piece of desert ironwood. Let me see if I can get a nice light on it. Focus. It's got a really nice piece of desert ironwood with a tiger's eye effect. It's somewhat bookmarked. You can see it's got really well-defined bands of black and brown and orange on both sides. And I tried to line up the sides evenly. The back is nicely bookmarked. The top, come on, focus. Focus? No? Okay. The back is somewhat bookmarked. And now you don't want to focus for me? The only downside is the bottom. The bottom did not bookmark as well. This is much more white here than it did here. This ended up disappearing on me as I was grinding it down. My customer wanted, this is 3V steel, and I had a hard time getting a polish on it. That took the longest. I did it by machine, went by hand, and then back on machine just to get the grinds as even as possible. There's still some very, very fine grind marks on the steel, which I just can't get rid of. Clip point with rock pattern. To make sure that there were no further delays, I asked two leather manufacturers, leather workers, to make me a custom sheath for the blade. I got one of them in. His design. I'm waiting for the other one, and I'll have my customer decide which one he wants. This is the one that he came up with. My customer wanted stitched, but this guy does not do stitching. He does the rivets. The other guy does leather stitching. So they're going to be different. This one is with rivets. The other one is stitching. I thought this one might work because the rivets, he said, hold better. They're brass, just like the pins of the blade. And he does this texture on the leather, which I like a lot. It looks almost like rock or lava. And so I thought the colors go very well with the desert ironwood and the brass. So this is a scout carry with an option. These clips come off. So I thought that was pretty cool. Drop leg. So it's got a nice big loop here. And he has this cord here to wrap around the thigh if you want to, or remove it. And what I like about it is, although I specified right-hand carry, this thing here will swivel. So you can carry it left or you can carry it right. So I thought it was a pretty good idea. So this is what it looks like now. And like I said, I'm going to wait until the other one comes in and I'll have my customer decide which way he wants to go. So this is what it looks like right now. The other one is a dark brown and it's going to be stitched. I want to repeat that. Both of them are scout carry or drop leg. So this is one buoy, and like I said, I built myself a prototype because I wasn't too sure how the rock pattern, he wanted rock pattern all around, my rock pattern, but I was concerned about how it was going to affect the grind line and how it was going to affect the clip point. And if we make a thin clip point, would you end up with like serrations because of these, the rock pattern creates like these divots, if you will, and then if you make this thin, it becomes like a serration. So I did this one just to test things out, and I'm glad I did because I think this might be a little too much rock pattern for him. So this is will be up for sale, or I'll end up keeping it. I also wanted to practice with the jimping. I have jimping on both of them. Bought a special file to do the jimping. Rock pattern all around, and the rock pattern creates slight divots, so the other one has a slightly different rock pattern. Although this is a prototype, I did take some liberties and change the handle a little bit just to fit my needs. He wanted a thick handle, so I still kept it thick and chunky, as he said. But this is kind of more my style. Put a really fat back. And that's for if you have to do any kind of like thrusting in. You want a bigger target to hit, so it's easier on the hand. So the pommel is nice and fat. What I used here is bloodwood, carbon fiber, desert, ironwood. Sorry about that, some tongue oil that I have on my fingers. I've got bloodwood liners. What I love about the bloodwood is in different angles, it picks up the light differently, and it's either a very bright red, or in different angles, it's a very dark red, and it definitely has that shimmering effect. Let's see if I can get it in the right light. If there's too much glare, it's not going to work. And if it's out of focus, it's not going to work. Red is a hard color for some cameras to pick up, so it's going to end up looking orange or a little pale. So I like the combo of desert, ironwood, and carbon fiber and bloodwood. I like that. Copper pins with a high polish on the blade. So we finished that one. So the next project that I'm working on is a custom broadsword for Blade Psycho, and you've seen the grinding of that one, and you've seen some pictures on Instagram if you guys follow me. I'm working on the guard right now. This guard is made out of an alloy of aluminum, 6061 T6. It is a tough, lightweight aluminum. It's harder than brass or copper, which is why I chose it, and lightweight, another reason why I chose it. This is 1 inch thick block of aluminum, which I milled out the slot here for the tang by hand with a file, and ground this down, tapering it down with the grinder. And these are the 4 holes you typically see in a Scottish claymore. Now, I did this by hand, and the holes are a little off right now. I'm going to have to bore them out and even them out. These scorpion-like tail fittings, they just kind of happened. I was focusing more on making sure I was getting the pitch here and the tapering even on both sides, making sure that this was nicely centered and this was squared off, right? That was very important to me. And I wanted to make sure these things lined up well. And when I cut the shoulders, and this is the natural left and right sides of the aluminum block, I didn't touch these surfaces, and I just made this meet. These scorpion-like tail fittings just happened on their own. And I like them, but they're not what the customer asked for. He wanted the Scottish claymore fittings, which kind of like looks like this. So I contacted him, and he likes them too, so I think we're going to keep them. I just need to clean this up a little bit. So we'll see. It is still thicker than it needs to be. I wanted it thick because I'm going to do maybe some of it by hand, or I can still grind it down. Haven't decided. I've got so many ideas as to how to finish this, whether Scottish claymore fittings or the scorpion tails, or just to cut them off and leave them like this, or to round them. I've got so many ideas and only one sword to make. So I am kind of stuck, and I've been communicating with Blade Psycho to see which will help me out, help me decide, because I got so many ideas I don't know where to go with. how to finish this. So I came up with this texture finish. Hopefully the camera will focus for me, which I'm really digging. I'm really digging this textured surface. Not too sure if I can do it on that sample. I can definitely do this 36 grit finish and then anodizing it. That's what it looks like with a 36 grit finish. I could attempt to do this one, which is even coarser. This one isn't showing it, but it's got little red hues in the grooves. That's from copper deposit. The other one doesn't have it. So if you can imagine what it would look like here and maybe on the side there, or just go with the 36 grit finish, that's what it would look like. So Brett, I know we've been talking back and forth, and it sounds like I'm undecisive. I am. There's just so many ideas and so many things I would like to do with this, and I only have one to work on. So I don't know which way to go. So I might contact you again. What I have to do is just decide on it and then move forward. Otherwise, this project just takes forever. And again, my projects are taking a long time because with every custom project, I'm making a prototype just to make sure if it's got something new I haven't done before. So this is an example. This is a scaled down version, a prototype of the broadsword, which I had to test first because the big sword is a big investment for me, so I can't screw it up. So what I am doing with this one is I've got a special technique to grind a 1/2 inch bevel here, and this tapers up to about 1 inch over here. If you were to follow this line here, it's a little more than 1/2 inch to 1 inch when you come up to here. This creates a lot more steel to grind, especially in this area here. And when the two overlap, what happens is I end up with a natural thinning out or tapering of the blade. It's not very noticeable now because this blade is short, but over 25 inches, this is going to be more significant. This allows me to taper the blade and it's not too front heavy. This is a thick stock of steel. Blade Cycle wanted a thick stock of steel, so I found him a .333 inch thick, and it gets down to about over here in this area there. It gets to about 1/4 inch, maybe just a little more than 1/4 inch. The grind lines here are very good. Straight down the middle, straight down the spine. This is just nail polish, which I have to test out when I dip it in acid. I really dig the diamond part here. Came out pretty darn good for hand grinding. Came out pretty darn even. So let me put that one down. With the remaining block of aluminum, this center part here is where the pommel. I'm going to cut this out for the pommel, and then with the extra piece becomes the guard for the what I'm calling a Scottish dirk. And you can see this is a lot of aluminum to grind out. That's a lot of work to make, just to make this piece. This has been taking me weeks. This is what an inch thick block of aluminum looks like. Okay, so I've got some other things I wanted to show you, little projects that I've been picking up that I've had but I haven't finished because I'm working on the custom projects. Let's see. Let's start with this one real quick. You've seen this one already. This is a buoy that I started and never finished, and it's going to be a while before I finish it because I want to do custom orders first. It's got a cute heart in the tang, in the ricasso, 3V steel. I've covered it with nail polish to protect the color from the scale, which is red. You know, the heart, red heart. I'm going to protect that color, and I've got a slight convex to a 0. This is a little bit of a burr right here, sharp. Slight convex to a 0, and this is flat ground. I still have more to cut. And when I do so, this line here will straighten out. But you could see now that my grind lines are lined up. So I just want to show you this one real quick. It's really nice, really ergonomic. All right, so that one's going to be a while. I want to show it now. I showed you this one that I finished in January. I showed this one a little while ago. This is, I had bought a few pieces of Damascus steel, and I love the Japanese-inspired blades. So this is my take of a negative angled handle tanto, Japanese-style tanto, with a rock pattern. I showed you this one. I just wanted to show you the Damascus first. I've got a couple examples. Here is one that I did. This one was a challenge for me, and that's because it is tough to get this swedge grinded down to the bottom bevel and not have them overlap. That is a challenge. And to do them on both sides is a challenge. Now it's a little off over here, but the collar goes over that, so that's going to, so it's flat ground to almost a near zero. And it still needs some work, but I just love the design. You'll see this on katanas, and I'm probably mispronouncing it, but it's called Onokubi Zakuri, I believe. That's the right pronunciation. But what is cool is straight grind lines. They're coming out nice. Okay, so this one hasn't been dipped. One thing I wanted to test out for a long time is bluing Damascus. I'm not too sure if people have done this already. Bluing Damascus. I hope it's not sharp. Not too sure how it's showing up on the camera. Not too sure, but again, this project, I don't know how long it's going to take until I finish it with all these custom orders that I have. But and I think the last thing I'm going to show you is this one. Tim Troyer, an excellent knife maker and a really cool guy, a great humanitarian as well. Did something with Damascus. He dipped it in ferrochloride with copper and copper coated Damascus. I thought that was cool. I did this a long time ago after seeing his video. I see that Mike Gavik is doing something similar. So I wanted to show you mine that I did, but never finished it, just like a lot of my projects. Copper coated Damascus. Now the reason to show you this one is, and you know, I'm not too sure if Mike is doing this. So a tip for him, not too sure if he watches my channel, but if he does, a tip for him, I'm not too sure if he's doing it. I noticed that in his videos, his copper is not as shiny as mine. And that's because maybe he doesn't know that you can take copper and you can polish it, even if it's copper coated. So maybe he does and doesn't need to do it, or maybe he doesn't know. So when I pull this out of the ferrochloride with the copper, it's a dull copper. But if you take a piece of worn 2500 grit sandpaper and just lightly buff it, the copper polishes up. I don't buff it too hard because I don't want to wear the copper out, but the copper polishes up. I put rock pattern over here, again experimenting with Damascus and rock pattern a long time ago, and it still needs some tweaking. All right, everyone, so I just wanted to say again, hi, thanks, and I am watching your videos, perhaps not commenting on all of them. You know, whatever time I have, I try to focus on the projects, trying to reserve large blocks of time to work on the projects. So hopefully I can get some things done and get moving again with my knives. I want to wish everyone one last thing. So the Unreal Smith suggested on Instagram for me to make a multi-tool. And I said, nah, I've got so many things to do, and you know, I don't want to be a me too kind of guy. Everyone else has great ideas, and you know, I've got to come up with something original. I'm working with so many projects, I didn't have time. Well, It just so happens my buddy and I went fossil digging a while ago, and his crowbar broke. So I took the crowbar piece, removed the rust, removed the hammer marks. There were tons of hammer marks on it. You can see it's also misshapen here. Polished it up a little bit, put a satin finish on it, Scotch-Brite finish. Notched out the corner there, and there we go. Now I got a multi-tool. I've got a, well, not sharpened yet, but it could be a sharpened pry bar bottle opener. So to the Unreal Smith, thank you for the suggestion. I'm sure my buddy appreciates the idea. Otherwise, this would have been thrown out. Now my buddy has a bottle opener for his kitchen. It's nice and cleaned up. Perhaps need to work a little bit in here. All right, so the Unreal Smith, thank you. Thanks a lot. And to everyone, I want to say thanks. Thanks for your support. Have a great one. And to all, have a great knife. Bye.